Hello everyone. This is Kamul Awikan 2021, and this panel is for college with ADHD and study tips plus a Q&A. So we'll get started on this. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the Red Room text chat, and I will get to your questions at the end of the discussion. So kind of a little background. Before this semester, I had recently gotten diagnosed with ADHD. I went through the assessment and screening. I I figured I would go back to school. I needed a change in my life. Everything was just really stagnant. I was getting really depressed, and I want to be able to like own a home basically in the middle of the woods, but like just doing my commissions and stuff as my source of income as I've been doing since 2016. It's like it's fine. Like I really enjoy doing it. It's just it's not stable income, and I was really looking for that. So I decided to go back to college, which I swore I would never do. High school was just terrible for me. Like I'll get to that in a minute. But it was something where I figured why not? Let's look up stuff, and I'm like, what are things that I like? And I ended up before even the college thing came up, I was just looking through buttons, and I was looking at like paleontology buttons, and I'm like, whoa, that's cool. I wonder how long you have to go to school for. It's like you gotta get a PhD. I'm like, ooh, I don't think I can afford that. And I'm like, geology, I like rocks, so let's look that up. And it's like you can get a bachelor's. It's like, all right, that's more doable. More than likely, I can do that, and then we'll see where we go from there. Oh yeah, I have a ton of rocks in my room. It is insane. So I figured, why not? Let's see what I can do to go to college for geology. And it was something where I was just gonna ask, like, my mom just like, "Hey, what do you know about this?" Because she was really close to getting a degree in geology. She got a degree in another subject. I can't recall which at the moment, but I was just asking her. She's like, "Oh, you want to go to college?" And then like within a week, I was signed up, which I didn't expect for things to escalate that fast. I was thinking like, "Oh, maybe next year," but just got me thrown right in. So even better. And so, before going there, like over the probably from that point, so this last May, like the previous 6 months before, I've been thinking a lot about like, you know, because I've had friends bring up to me like, "Oh, Lindsey, you give off kind of like ADHD energy," and same from like my aunt and uncle and my cousin. Just saying like, they were assuming I was autistic just like my cousin, so they were like, "Oh, maybe you should get that checked out." And then friends are like, "Oh, maybe you should check out if you have ADHD." And I'm like, I'm thinking now that I'm signed up for college, just like, you know what? Maybe I should get that figured out because maybe that's why I had such a hard time in high school. And so when I got my assessment, and as some of you know, it takes months to get it done, and just this back and forth stuff going through assessments, and just yeah, just a lot of like you're on FaceTime with someone, they ask you questions, some about your childhood, some were kind of hard to answer just because like growing up, I always had like my grandma there to keep me on track. So it's like some of those things I didn't know how to answer, and I didn't know what I was going to get back. But right before school started, um, I got diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm the inattentive type. And so it was something when I got the diagnosis, it just so many answers were just there, just like, "Oh, that makes so much more sense." Like, why I do these things, or, like, if I compare it to my school experience, why it was just so hard for me to focus or remember things, like, I would study, I'd feel like I would get it, and then everything would just go blank, like, I couldn't remember anything, and I thought it was the trauma, which who knows, it might be too, but and plus, back then, I also had some undiagnosed thyroid stuff going on too, so it might be a combination of all 3 as well, but but it was something where I just had so much answers, so I could figure out a better game plan going into college, 'cause I'm just going to community college for the moment, but I'm planning to transfer in a couple years. My ideal goal, if the whole money situation works, as we all know, I would love to go all the way to a PhD, but we'll just focus on transferring for the moment. And so it's something where I got that figured out. I could figure out a game plan. My school has a DSP program, a disability service program, where people with learning disabilities and physical disabilities can get assistance and accommodations. And I looked to get into that. I still don't know, like, really any accommodations I need at the moment, just because I've been so long without the diagnosis. But I figured it'd still be good to be able to talk to people and try to figure out more game plans step by step on how to, like, do things, work on my study habits, work on remembering things better, and that kind of stuff. And so I found out that there was an academic coach in the program that you can meet up with. You can meet up with, like, however many times you need. So I signed up. I do that every week. And even if I don't really have anything specific, it's always good to check in, just so someone's keeping on top of you in a way. Just so you kind of say, yeah, this is how my classes are going. These are my assignments. And like, if it's like a writing assignment, my academic coach is able to help. She used to be an English professor. So, like, she'll let me go over things, make sure they make sense, and kind of explain instructions to me, because that's also a hard spot. Just like, this is what your professor's looking for, and like how you answered it, you're understanding it or you're not understanding it. This is where you need to adjust it, and that really helps out. And I obviously, because we're over here in California, we're still not going to school face to face, so it's all online right now. But I can't say for college in person yet, but college online, it has been so much better than high school in person. I could say that. I Who knows how long it'll last. I know some of the classes next year are going to be in person, probably things like labs. Um but like with the online, at least for me, it's so much easier. Just and probably part of that is because I've been working online for, I don't know, since 2016, however many years ago that is. And so it's something where I've been breaking things down easier, like figuring out like my own strategies that work for me, instead of like in high school where they're just like, oh, well, read the book and um, like going into it, like, for example, with my statistics class, it's gotten to the point where this is the probably the first time that I've kept an A all through the semester so far. Knock on wood, it stays that way. Um, but same with all my classes. This is like the first time I was able to keep straight A's. It's not that I had bad grades before in high school. Um, High school was more of just a improv, see how fast you can get it done, because you either procrastinated too much or you just remembered, like, as you're walking into the class that you had an assignment, and so you're doing it like you're holding the paper against your hand and just going as fast as you seem to go. And it is so weird how that seemed to have worked for me for a while, but I did not want to play that risk in college. um and so now it's like I have everything's organized, like on Canvas and stuff, where all the online schooling is. There's like a to-do list, and it tells you things to do in order, like things of top priority, which sometimes, it's harder. I want to get some of the, quicker stuff to do and bump it out of the way. but at least I can visually see a representation of it. I can get it done. And our lectures, I only have one class with lectures. The rest of them you just kind of have to do on your own and you go to office hours. Something I recommend, like, if you have any questions at all, go to the office hours. Like, I it kind of built up courage for me to do that, but this semester's like, all right, no, you have to do it. Just go, even if you don't really have a question, just check in with your professors. If there's somebody else in there that has a question, listen to them because it might be something that you need to know. Because I could tell you there's things that, like, my math professor has told me because I went into office hours that he didn't mention in class that helps me with, like, the tests and stuff. And right now, like, me and my math class, we have a server where we just kind of like study together and stuff. And with each test, it's gotten to the point where I go to office hours, I understand the material enough where I can help tutor my classmates. And I never thought I could get to that point. And something that really helps is just breaking down the big wall of text that you're getting in terms of like assignments, tests, quizzes, and highlighters are an ADHD person's best friend. I will tell you that. Get all the highlighters, multiple colors, and just so it's visually different because when you see a wall of text, you're just gonna go, I don't get it. Like you just see just text after text. But if you take a highlighter and go bit by bit, and I'll post it in the Red Room chat. Ignore the extra notes I made. I just did that when I was explaining it to my classmates for tutoring. But just take a look at like the highlighting bit, like highlighting the important bits, like the bits of information that you need in order to solve the problem. And just being able to take it step by step and notice certain words. Like you go in the office hours and you ask your professor, what are certain words? What are certain terms I should know? You make a key, which I'll post that. I also have a key here, which there we go. You have a key of like important terms that you need to know. So you look back at that and obviously you have your notes, which I recommend take a lot of notes. Like luckily for the one lecture class I have, like all that he says is on a visual PowerPoint and he also records it so he saves it for later. So, that's available, which is nice. My computer can't handle opening that up, but during the class, I write down everything and then I go back in and I highlight the important information. And in case like he's going fast that day and I'm feeling like I'm going to miss something if I don't write fast enough, I just take screenshots of everything. And so I can use that as notes for later and just build it out, make it look nice, make it easy to read so I can go back to and do the step by step. Like when you're doing a problem, like where it's saying do this, like, how a lot of times you'll just jump in and do the problem. I would say really your first step is, put down the formula you're going to use, like at its bare bones where it says like, P equals X or whatever, the whole formula is. You put that down in its bare bones first so you can see it and you're not rushing through it. You can visually plug it in to the information you have. Just take the extra time to do that because it helps a lot. And yeah, just go to office hours, get acquainted with your professors, like talk to them, like even if you don't have any questions that day, it helps just so they kind of know what's going on with you, like that you're really interested in learning and stuff. And I've noticed something that really helps me remember things because I have a hard time remembering, which we'll see how that goes when classes are back live in person. But for the moment, like teaching other classmates and other peers the stuff that I'm learning really helps solidify it. Like just coming up with lessons. I like for my geology professor, I've already had them make a video for a lab extra credit assignment where I just have my little persona just talking in stills, but talking in stills about density. But it made me understand it a whole lot better. And I've even gotten asked to do TA for lab and geology next year, and my math professor is interested in me, like, helping tutor next year, or well, I mean, technically it's next year, next semester, 2022. And so it really helps. And really, I would say the hardest part about doing online learning is really holding yourself accountable. Like, and I could say that for anyone, but especially if you're someone with ADHD, because it's like if no one's on top of you saying, "Hey, how are you doing in school? What's your load looking like?" then it's all up to you, which sometimes it's like you're almost like a shark. If you stop, you die kind of thing. And but really all you have to do is have a source of accountability in a way where I have my academic coach. I go to the office hours. There's certain times of a week where I go in there. I'm in there so much where when I'm not in there, I've gotten emails from professors asking, "Hey, are you okay? Like, did something happen?" And so even that just kind of keeps me on track, keeps me still going and having a routine that happens to work for me. And in high school, didn't have that, was just a depressed kid that just, just moved from somewhere that was home and, had a bunch of family trauma before that. Coming in to high school was just really hard. And being in a new place with new people and then with all these subjects that you don't care about, your future vision, I guess you could say it, is so foggy, you can't even picture yourself, like, outside of graduation. And then, like, when people are talking about college, you just can't see it. And it's okay to not go to college right out of high school. Like, going to college now, I am so glad I waited. Like, I feel a lot more mature now. I feel like I can really, like, figure it out. Like, I couldn't even imagine, like, when I would've gone to college, like, how everyone else in my class has, at age 17, if that was the case, it's like, no, it took a while, yeah, but, I worked in between. I worked in between and saved up some money, and I never thought I would go back, but now I am, and I'm going through some really hard classes, like, not right now, but next semester, that's when it starts. Gotta take that good old calculus. I I promised myself I would never do that. Like, in high school, like, I was in AP Stats and AP Calculus, and then I stopped and I'm like, "Why am I taking AP Calculus my senior year? I'm not even going if I'm going to school, I'm not even going this. I'll go for art." And then, yeah, kinda bites me back in the butt later years later, just like, "Oh, I gotta take calculus 1, 2, and 3. Woo!" And figure out that my at least my math professor, that I understand, like, how he's teaching and stuff, at least he's teaching through calculus, so that'll be amazing. But yeah, if you got a professor that you like, see what classes they teach and stick with it, because like, that routine will help so much. But yeah, just take the time and really dive in, learn, highlight the heck out of everything, because that will help so much. And just have a visual representation of, like, what's going on. Like, the app helps so much. And go to office hours, go to your academic coaches, go to your counselors. Like, have a routine where you go there, because the fact that you just have to go there, just physically, that's something that'll keep you on track. It's just when you physically get set in the motion, that is a great starting point. And that's really all I have to say about this lecture with College with ADHD. Does anyone have any questions or any responses or anything that you'd like me to talk about before we wrap it up? Am I taking medication? No, I'm not. I'm already taking medication for my thyroid. I don't wanna add anymore. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I hope so too. I just ordered myself a, calculus book for dummies, the read over winter break, and just start kinda prepping myself for it. How do I deal with burnout and depression? Oh, yeah. That's something that's been a bit hard. Just I've had some depression issues since I was 11, and really the best thing I can deal with, like, burnout or depression because at least right now, like, I have 16 units, and for those who don't, that's a really heavy load. It's, 12 units is a full-time student, and so then you add, 4 more. It can be a lot sometimes. Um, and it's something where burnout can very easily happen, and it's something whenever it comes to being depressed, like, if I have a really low day and I'm just having a hard time just existing, the best thing that I do, at least for the moment, to continue on to the next, I just go take a nap and reset my brain. I just reset if I can, which obviously it's a lot harder now in today's climate, but just, go to bed, reset, or get out and do something. Like, figure the how do I explain this? Something that's helped, especially before COVID time. I mean, it you could still do it now, but it's not as many options, I would say. Is I do something because a lot of times when I fall into depression, I feel like because I don't have any control over my life. I feel like I have no agency. That I'm just doing what everyone else expects me to do and I don't have any choices for myself. And so what I do for that is I do the practice besides for sleeping and trying to reset, but I try to do the I choose path. So I try to make things like that I choose to do something, even if it's super small, to help me just through. Like if I have, like dirty laundry or something, I say out loud, I say, I choose to fold it and I do it. Like I choose to go downstairs and get a popsicle or something, just anything like that. And you can build it up like I choose to go get myself some takeout. I choose, and you just say it just so you feel like you have a bit of control over yourself. And just, it could be just little things. I choose to get a drink of water, just everything. Where so many of that stuff, I don't know if anyone's in this chat's really ever done that, but it's something that helps me in the moment. A lot of times if I'm really down, yeah, I just reset the brain real quick. But if I'm still like in that fog, then I'll do that. Like I choose to go for a walk. I choose the stretch. And yeah, just every little thing that you decide to do, you say it. Just because you do have choices and you do them throughout the day, but you usually don't acknowledge them. Like if you're eating, if you choose to eat food or go to the bathroom or anything, you just think they're just natural things. You just flow with it. But if you say it throughout your day, I choose, then it's something where little by little you feel more in control in your life. And as for burnout, that's something like with ADHD, there's a lot of times where like you're working on a paper. The best examples I can think of are like for like English, especially like English assignments, is like you got to be in a certain space to write things, as you all know. And as you're typing things out, and let's just say, the deadline's in a couple days or something, but you're trying to get a head start. So you're typing things out, and then it's just you just end up staring at the paper, and then eventually you're on your phone, you're looking through social media, and then it's just times pass and just nothing is in your brain. Like, you cannot think about this right now, and just everything is blank. Like, what I would used to do in high school is just kinda, literally smack my head to the point where it's like, "No, you have to do this. You have to do it right now." But what I've learned, especially with my diagnosis, is it at least it's taught me to be more empathetic with myself. Like, I recognize that, oh, that's my ADHD. That it's like I'm just getting foggy. What I need to do, I need to step away from it and just do something else. Just there's this one person that's like on Instagram and TikTok where he says follow the dopamine. Like, that's literally the best thing you can do for that when you're feeling like that. And, do something else for like a few hours and then come back to it. Or if you have enough time before your next deadline, come back the next day and do it. And it'll be so much more fresh, and you would have wasted the same amount of time if you would have just sat there at your chair forcing yourself to do it. So if you do that, you come back and you end up having a better product. And you can associate this with things outside of like English essays and stuff too. And so let's see, what else does it say here? Oh yes, having someone to be there. Like, I hear that helps a lot of people out. For me personally, that's something that doesn't work. I get too distracted. The only time that works is when I have a cinema project or something where I have to watch a movie, where I'll watch a movie with a friend, Corwin, and so, like, we'll just watch it and, like, comment about it, talk about it later, and then I can write my whole thing out. But, like, for cinema, that stuff helps a lot more because usually when I'm watching a movie, I like to kinda do something else, so I'll have the movie on one screen, and I'll be either working on animation or I'll be working on another while that's on. Like, the last movie we saw, I was working on, my geology lab assignments, so that helps. I I don't know, but multitasking sometimes helps me. I wouldn't recommend it for but yeah. Let's see here. Talk about this all lady this lately. Lady. How do you handling the change from a classroom environment to a digital? Oh yeah, I mentioned that a little bit earlier. Yeah, no, I hadn't been in high school for like 7 years, I think. But no, the digital classroom environment's way easier for me, and I think part of that is because I've been working, like, from home and working online for a long time, so I'm a little more familiar with what you have to do in terms of deadlines that you set for yourself and stuff. Um, but it's been it's been really fun, just being able to organize it the way you want to, wake up whenever you wanna wake up, and get things done as long as it's in by the due date. Like, you have a lot of flexibility, which I do like because, as I said with the writing stuff, you can just get up and do something else. Like, if your brain ain't thinking about writing, you can get up and you could go play Nintendo Switch for a couple hours. You could play Animal Crossing update for a little bit and then come back to it. And so it's just there's that option to do that where if you're at school in your desk and you're just listening, I mean, I don't know how it's like college in person, but I assume you can't just stand up and walk out and just pull out the switch and just start playing in your bed, in your pajamas. You get the idea. But yeah, I do like the online schooling. I don't think I would mind if I had, like, part-time, part online, part there, but I do like the online aspect, and I think it should be more normalized or at least an option for people. Let's see. Trying to see where the next thing is. Oh, the Study With Me YouTube channels. I've never checked those out. Maybe I should at some point. You could. I don't know how the professor would react. Yeah, who knows? Anyone else got any other questions? Oh, hello, Moxie. That's when the professor whips out their Switch. Oh, I wish. Boss music starts playing. Yeah, they just challenge you to Super Smash Bros. Or something. That would be amazing. Getting some typing, so I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss out on any questions. If you beat your professor in a Pokemon battle, you get the leaf class early. Oh my gosh, if only it was like that. Most of it's called ASMR, but it's not really ASMR if you don't like that. I, I like ASMR, but I like the ASMR where, like, nobody's talking. I don't like the talking or whispering, it weirds me out. I like things that are like, nature noise, ASMR, or like if people are walking down the street or people are walking through snow or something, or cooking ASMR where there's no talking. Like that's the kind of ASMR I like, but that's more of like relaxing and trying to settle your mind to go to bed kind of vibes. Oh, also, I listen for I guess study music if it's something where I don't have to think too hard on it, but I just have to do it the assignment. I will listen to like instrumental music, and my go-to is the instrumental soundtrack of Life is Strange. That stuff is calming as heck, and it's like a good study song music soundtrack. Yeah, you get the picture. Oh, the study YouTube videos don't talk physically. Oh. But yeah, I'll do one last call for questions or just topics about this that you'd like me to talk about. If not, then I will end the recording and wrap up the panel. Oh, you're welcome. All right then, I will end this. Thank you all so much for coming and listening to this panel about college with ADHD and some study tips. Thank you all so much for coming, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the con. Bye.